Speeds for free when you get TV, internet, and phone. Ask for Trio from Rev.
Join the revolution.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, stakeholders speculate the outcome of the constitutional referendum. Members of the disabled community demand rights. Is Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival set to be privatized? A call for extended relief efforts for Hurricane Joaquin victims. Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, a member of the Vote No campaign is predicting that the results of the upcoming constitutional referendum will mirror the results of the next general election. Kevin Minister Kay Harris of Save the Bays Bahamas is also rejecting Prime Minister Perry Christie's claim that same-sex marriage will not happen under his watch. Vonique Toot reports.
The Vote No campaign has dismissed Prime Minister Perry Christie's assertion that as long as he holds that position, there will be no same-sex marriage in the country and it will not happen in his lifetime. Kevin Minister Kay Harris, who is among a group of pastors campaigning against Bill Number 4 ahead of the constitutional referendum, says he feels government officials will say anything at this point to secure a yes vote on June 7th.
I think the Prime Minister and other people associated with the Yes campaign and the government are trying to do and say anything to gain support. I believe the challenge the Prime Minister faces is a credibility issue. When you say to Bahamian women in 2002, I will vote against you, it's problematic to ask them in 2016 to say, I want you to vote a different way. When you tell people with the gambling referendum, I'll be guided by my word, then you go and you break your word. It's hard to come in 2016 and say, no gay marriage on my watch. You can trust me and believe that's going to happen. Most people do not believe that statement.
The PLP government has been criticized for campaigning against a similar referendum brought by the Ingram administration back in 2002. PLP members have said this was the result of then Prime Minister Hubert Ingram's declaration that the party that won the referendum would win the 2002 general election. Harris says he believes this will be another instance where referendum results will mirror election results.
I believe that this is also going to be a serious indictment, or if you would like to say a serious measuring stick on the performance of the government. I think this is a trust matter, and I believe people will vote according to how they feel. And I really believe that the next general election, that the votes for this referendum could mirror itself in the next general election.
That's why he says some members of the Christie administration aren't heavily pushing the referendum publicly.
The reality is there are a lot of people who are planning to vote according to how they feel they've been treated. A lot of the electorate do not believe that they have been respected, and it's a big reality for the Prime Minister and his team. I think the reality is so large that you don't see even the Prime Minister who supports these bills. He's nowhere in the public domain campaigning or championing these bills.
Harris says while some have argued that government does not want to make this referendum political, he's not buying it. 4 questions will be put to voters during an advanced poll on May 31st and during the referendum on June 7th. Reporting for our news, I'm Vonique Toot.
Thanks, Vonique. Well, attorney Wayne Monroe, QC, says he agrees with former Court of Appeal President Dame Joan Sawyer, who suggested that Article 15 of the country's Constitution already provides equal protection based on sex, but noted that there is no limitation on that. Simone Davis has that angle.
Article 15 of the country's constitution states that every person in the Bahamas is entitled to fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, whatever his race, place, or origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others and for the public interest. Monroe said although that article mentions sex, he believes the article provides no limitation on sex.
And there's been a lot of talk about Article 15. I agree. with the former Chief Justice Dame Sawyer. Article 15 now does protection based on sex, but there's no limitation on that.
Former Chief Justice Dame Joan Sawyer recently expressed that she would not be supporting any of the 4 bills because she believes that they are all a waste of time because the Constitution already addresses those matters. After many expressed concern that Question 4 of the referendum would lead to same-sex marriage, the Constitutional Review Commission dismissed those claims on several occasions. Justice Ruby Nottage also previously told our news that the former Chief Justice Dame Joan Sawyer recently expressed that she would not be supporting any of the 4 bills because she believes that they are all.
However, Monroe said he's unaware of any part of the country's constitution that defines marriage as being between a man and a woman.
On that same premise, I could use the same argument in the U.S. Supreme Court, and a gay couple from abroad can insist on recognition and protection of their status. And arguably, they can get married in the Bahamas, because I don't know of any law in the Bahamas that says that marriage is between a man and a woman. It's certainly not in the Marriage Act.
Monroe also addressed concerns of Article 26.
If you want the government to be able to pass a law that discriminates on sex in adoption, marriage, devolution of real property or other personal matters, you better put sex in 26, because then the Parliament can, if it is ever argued that the provision of the Matrimonial Causes Act is insufficient, can pass the law. If sex is not in 26(3), then the limitation in 26(4) cannot apply.
Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
Thanks, Simone. Unfazed by the widespread backlash caused by her recent referendum comments, former Court of Appeal President Dame Joan Sawyer says the gender equality vote isn't the only referendum government is wasting time on. She told our news she feels the 2013 gaming referendum was also unnecessary. That's why she says she did not participate in the failed referendum.
Because I and other lawyers in the legal department, some of whom are now judges, have prepared licenses for gaming establishments before 2013. And in fact, the churches who used to have raffles used to get those licenses from the minister. So why are they pretending that this is some, earth-shattering thing? You didn't need a referendum for the government to do that. All the Parliament had to do was amend the Gaming Act and give the minister the power to do it.
Though voters rejected the regulation of web shops in the 2013 gaming poll, the gaming bill was passed in the House of Assembly in September 2014. Dame Joan says government should have done that from the very beginning.
And people have criticized them for that. I didn't criticize them for that because I knew that they always had the power. I never thought they would come back in 2016 with a similar thing, seeing they were supposed to do this in 2014, you remember? November 6th was the date set for the referendum. I'm saying, but basically, you don't think something doesn't tell you that the man above is saying to you, what are you doing?
There are many things that we take for granted in life. Access to public transportation is one of them. However, members of the population who are disabled believe it's time that they get the same rights to public transportation as others. If you walk along Bay Street on a Friday afternoon, chances are you will meet Lorna Turnquest. She's on a quest to secure 10,000 names for a petition to raise awareness about transportation issues facing the disabled community.
We take everything for granted. Until you are in the position of being disabled, you don't know. I got here this morning on a public bus, but that was after 2 buses passed me. Because they would slow down, but if they see your cane or your walker or your brace, you are too slow trying to get on when I could have already picked up 3 more people for 3 times the money. Why are they going to stop for me?
Turnquest uses a cane for walking assistance, but recognizes that there are other Bahamians who are differently abled who experience even more difficulty. Individuals like Samuel Strawn.
There's a cane stick. I'm visually impaired. Most of the time when I'm walking the street, and if I want to cross the street, I have to point this across the street to get traffic attention. Most of the time they disregard this and keep on going. They don't stop.
Just 3 weeks in, Turnquest has already secured about 2,000 signatures. But she says there must be greater awareness and sensitivity toward people who are differently abled.
Because you're able, it does not mean you cannot work. You know, so some people with disability, they have to work. How do they get there if a family member is not available to carry them? What do? How do they get to and from their job?
Turnquest says she hopes each signature will demand the Prime Minister's attention to the matter.
I will do whatever it takes to get my 10,000 names to make them aware. If I present 10,000 names, they have to give us some type of consideration.
The petition is being backed by the Bahamas National Council for Disability and its members.